folks, gather round for this very exciting occasion. So for those of you who don't know, my name is David Mitchell. I'm the mayor of the town of Bridgewater, and I am super excited to be here. I know this has been a long time coming. We wanted to do this many years ago. There's some complications. You can all call the province and your MLA and get them to update the traffic standards. That makes it so these aren't illegal. But, you know, between Steve and our staff, we found a solution on, you know, a very busy intersection, very highly prominent, which is what we want to. But I just want to convey that this is more than just, you know, painting some colors on the road. You all know that. It's the town's way of publicly demonstrating to everyone that this is a safe, respectful, inclusive community where everyone deserves to be treated with love. And I know for many of you it doesn't feel like that. So I fielded a few calls. Why are you doing this? Why are you spending the money? Well, because some people don't have the luxury of just walking around being exactly who they want to be, a full, true expression of themselves without someone judging, hurting them. We don't have to go down all, you know. So this is just a small thing that the town can do to express that this is everyone's community, regardless of who you are, how you identify, whatever it is. This is your community. And so we are privileged to be able to do this. So I do want to thank Lunenburg Pride and our staff team for working together, and I look forward to the parade that's coming next month, our first Pride parade. Town Council will be there with all of you, and so, you know, better things are ahead. And I'll turn it over to you.
Jeez, now I gotta try not to cry. Thank you. No, I mean, like you said, this is it's a small gesture in the grand scheme of things, but it really means a lot more than just paint on a road. I know people here are part of the LGBTQ+ community. There are allies here, and the climate that we're currently living in, where there is a lot of vitriol and attacks on LGBTQ folks, especially trans people and drag queens, you know, especially when we have the events in Bridgewater next month, this will show to them that it's more than just paint. You know, this is a town that is welcome and inclusive to anyone, no matter the minority that comes out and tries to speak out against us, because, you know, we're not going anywhere. And it truly means a lot to me that we've worked through all the ups and downs with the rules and found a way to make it work, because it's so important that we have a crosswalk in Bridgewater, especially now that Bridgewater is growing and it's going to grow in the coming years. So I just want to thank everyone who came out, and this is wonderful that it happens to be in place before Pride Week next month. So I hope that anytime you're around here, whether it's during Pride Week or not, that you'll remember this very important day, and, you know, we will just keep staying positive despite all the reasons we have not to be. So thanks, everybody.
I'm Amanda Fancy. I'm the dealer-owner of Gals Home Hardware and Furniture. We've been at this location for about a year. We started in 1848, way back when, This is our 5th location, so we've never have left the town limits. So we're looking to build this location. We had lots of opportunity to potentially look at outside of the town limits, but it was really key for us to be and continue to be a growing business in Bridgewater. Bridgewater, Nova Scotia is unique. We have a beautiful countryside. Our town is 7,500 people, but then, our customer reach is about 45,000. So, we're talking about lots of small communities, hidden treasures. There's huge opportunity here, and I think that it's certainly worthwhile to make the visit, make the call, do some inquiring, because it certainly is somewhere where I think there would be some strong investment opportunities for sure.
My name is Joey Richard. I come from Quebec, Montreal. I've studied opera at the Montreal Conservatoire of Music, so this is where I've learned about Italian, the language, and the food. And my passion just became bigger and bigger for food. I've been cooking for 20 years, almost. I opened a family business, but the only thing I forgot is that my family is still in Montreal, so I'm like, I'm trying. I make new friends. I'm building this thing, but it is a family business here. My chef is like my brother. His wife is like my sister. So I recreated a family environment. We do the real recipes, starting from the real ingredients, and for Italian food, what the secret is. Few ingredients and very fresh. So each recipe would be like 3-4 ingredients maximum. But it's just the best ingredients and makes it so delicious. If you think that it's impossible to have your own business, I'm the living proof that it is possible. People want us to thrive. We work together. So everybody helps each other. If you want to be part of a community, it is the community to be part of.
My name is Joel Holland. I'm the owner and operator of 902 Athletics. I found the opportunity, started this gym in my parents' garage, and now we are currently in an 8,600 square foot facility. A lot of people come here because of the community. The things that we offer here are different than a normal gym. It's an open atmosphere where you come in, the music's played over the loudspeakers, not in your ears. You don't put earbuds in and just walk around from one machine to the other. You focus on yourself, but at the same time you get to meet new people. We have 3 floors, which we do CrossFit, boot camps, athletic training, and personal training. We have so many other businesses that are growing our economy and feeding into it becoming more populated, a place where people actually stay as opposed to leave. We're growing, we're getting bigger, and a lot of people are on the same push to become a better Bridgewater. I love this place. It's my home, and there is no other place that I would want my business to be.
folks, gather round for this very exciting occasion. So for those of you who don't know, my name is David Mitchell. I'm the mayor of the town of Bridgewater, and I am super excited to be here. I know this has been a long time coming. We wanted to do this many years ago. There's some complications. You can all call the province and your MLA and get them to update the traffic standards. That makes it so these aren't illegal. But, you know, between Steve and our staff, we found a solution on, you know, a very busy intersection, very highly prominent, which is what we want to. But I just want to convey that this is more than just, you know, painting some colors on the road. You all know that. It's the town's way of publicly demonstrating to everyone that this is a safe, respectful, inclusive community where everyone deserves to be treated with love. And I know for many of you it doesn't feel like that. So I fielded a few calls. Why are you doing this? Why are you spending the money? Well, because some people don't have the luxury of just walking around being exactly who they want to be, a full, true expression of themselves without someone judging, hurting them. We don't have to go down all, you know. So this is just a small thing that the town can do to express that this is everyone's community, regardless of who you are, how you identify, whatever it is. This is your community. And so we are privileged to be able to do this. And so I do want to thank Lunenburg Pride and our staff team for working together, and I look forward to the parade that's coming next month, our first Pride parade. Town Council will be there with all of you, and so, you know, better things are ahead. And I'll turn it over to you.
Jeez, now I gotta try not to cry. Thank you. No, I mean, like you said, this is it's a small gesture in the grand scheme of things, but it really means a lot more than just paint on a road. I know people here are part of the LGBTQ plus community. There are allies here, and the climate that we're currently living in, where there is a lot of vitriol and attacks on LGBTQ folks, especially trans people and drag queens, you know, especially when we have the events in Bridgewater next month, this will show to them that it's more than just paint. You know, this is a town that is welcome and inclusive to anyone, no matter the minority that comes out and tries to speak out against us, because, you know, we're not going anywhere. And it truly means a lot to me that we've worked through all the ups and downs with the rules and found a way to make it work, because it's so important that we have a crosswalk in Bridgewater, especially now that Bridgewater is growing and it's going to grow in the coming years. So I just want to thank everyone who came out, and this is wonderful that it happens to be in place before Pride Week next month. So I hope that anytime you're around here, whether it's during Pride Week or not, that you'll remember this very important day. And we'll just keep staying positive.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of Bridgewater Town Council. The town of Bridgewater is located in Mi'kma'ki, the unceded and ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and it is our privilege to be here. The agenda has been circulated. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, unless there are any additions or deletions? Moved by Councillor Colquitt, seconded by Councillor McDonald. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. I apologize for the slightly delayed start. We had a pre-meeting, and so that's what caused us to be delayed. Announcements. Does any member of council have announcements for anything that's upcoming? I know that on Saturday we have beautiful Bridgewater. So Saturday afternoon, a ton of activities at the Des Brisay Museum going on. If the weather holds, the Glow Walk will be taking place around Woodland Gardens, around the duck pond. So if you've never done that before, it is incredible. I think the last few times we've done it, we've had in excess of 150 people come to that. So again, just stay tuned. It is weather permitting. So if the weather's nice, we'll do that. And if not, then it'll unfortunately probably have to wait till next year. But there's lots of activities at the Des Brisets. This past Saturday, we had the Community Connections event at the Michelin Social Club, which was fantastic. A few dozen vendors, not vendors, organizations, charitable organizations, service groups, clubs, everything from Tai Chi to Remo was there, the YMCA and others, and the town of Bridgewater was there. We got to engage with quite a few citizens, which was really productive as we did our a Talk Bridgewater session there. So that was exciting. And there were a whole bunch of markets that took place on Saturday around town. It seemed like every parking lot I drove past, it was full with cars. So that's amazing, and still more activities to come over the next few weeks. Any other announcements? Councillor Thorburn?
If I could have your patience, Your Worship. Yesterday was an important day for the fire service. And each year we have Prevention Week in October, and it runs from the 8th to the 14th, based on the Great Chicago Fire. And we gather at the Cenotaph to pay tribute and honor the firefighters that have died in the past year. And this year, Chief Noss done something special. And there's a little write-up there that I think the public should hear, and with your permission, I'll read the little bio, if I may.
Yep, sure.
And the first one that they remember is Ronnie Langell. Ronnie joined the Bridgewater Fire Department April the 12th, 1954. He was a driver and operator and member of the BFD band for close to 60 years. Upon his retirement, he moved to Hibbville and joined that department, and he served there as chief, so he was honorary in 2 departments. Hopefully you all remember Vic Killam. He was a member of the Bridgewater Fire Department from 1948 to 1975 and returned again in August of 1987 to 1989. During his first term, he was a captain of 1 and captain ladder 2, and during his second term, he returned as a nozzleman. And the third member that some of you may remember is Robert Winters. Robert was quite an athlete. He was a member of the Bridgewater Fire Department, joined December the 10th, 1973, and served for 27 years and 1 month. He held the rank as treasurer from 1996 to December 2001. Prior to his retirement, Robert was also a drummer in the BFD band for many years until he retired in the 1990s. Now those 3 firefighters that we paid tribute on Sunday had close to 90 years service. That's volunteer service to the town of Bridgewater. And hopefully next year a few more people can get out to that cenotaph. It's an important day for the town, it's an important day for the fire service, and certainly the firefighters that are members of the BFD. So that's why I brought that up to us.
Great. No, I appreciate that. Thank you, Councillor Thorburn. Before we move on to our agenda, I'm going to welcome Dan Boudreau to present the first Poppy. Of course, the Poppy campaign will be starting on Saturday. Is that correct? So the
really, it starts right after the.
Do you want to come up to the microphones? See, I knew you had something to say.
Yes, the official presentation is done by the province to the Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, usually on the Friday mid-afternoon.
Okay.
So in theory, that's the starting point of the campaign for this year, and that's where we can start wearing the poppy.
Okay.
But for the meeting and timings and to get everybody all lined up, we chose to do it a bit ahead of time. So we would advise, if you can, not to wear it too much in public until
Till Friday afternoon.
the Friday afternoon or
Perfect.
Saturday morning when we start selling them.
Will do. All right.
Thank you very much.
So, of course, we know how important the Poppy campaign is to our veterans, and we hope for good weather on Remembrance Day. And as always, I'm sure we're going to have an exceptionally large turnout at the Cenotaph for that important service. So, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Last but not least for announcements, we have a new staff member that we would like to introduce. So I'm going to turn it over to the CAO, who's going to introduce our new Economic Development Officer.
So I'm pleased to introduce Donna Hatt as our Economic Development Officer. Donna's first day was October 10th, just a week ago. And she comes to the town with lots of leadership experience, both municipal, provincial, and nonprofit and private sector. You've probably heard Donna's name before. She's been involved with marketing with White Point, Lobster Made Easy, the Authentic Sea Coast, just to name a few. And she's also comes to us with some experience working for the Region of Queens as their Director of Tourism and Economic Development. So I just want to welcome Donna to the team, and I'm excited to see what she brings to the position.
Yes. So welcome. I don't know if you had a speech prepared or no? Okay.
Don't dare me.
No, welcome to the team. We're thrilled to have you. So. All right. I don't see any other members of the public for a delegation, so we'll move down into minutes. We have the minutes of the October 10th regular council meeting there. Any errors or omissions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Councillor Tanner, seconded by Councillor Caldwell. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. And we are down to correspondence for action. Lunenburg County Accessibility Advisory Committee. And so we have recommendations to appoint new members to the committee. So I don't know if anyone is ready to make a motion. Yes, Councillor McDonald, thank you.
I would move the Town Council for the Town of Bridgewater endorse the recommendation of the Lunenburg County Accessibility Nominating Committee and appoint Scott Lutz to the Lunenburg County Accessibility Advisory Committee for a term of 2 years effective immediately.
Thank you. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Fragier. Just a reminder for the public that the Lunenburg County Accessibility Advisory Committee is made up of the 5 municipalities in the region. So working together to kind of make policy changes and generally make our region more accessible together, as opposed to trying to do it on one-offs across the 5 individual municipalities. So a lot of that is driven not just by the coordinator, but by the volunteers in this committee. So we're pleased to have Scott join that great committee. So we have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. 8.2 is United Way request for 4,000 additional free transit passes.
So you see the request before you. This fiscal year, Council has given a total of 6,000 free passes to United Way, and the correspondence that's been received from Michael Graves indicates that there's even more need, further need for additional free passes, and they're requesting 4,000 more. So that would bring the total for this year to 10,000. There's some statistics that's included with your agenda package that we just added today. Staff compiled a little bit of information for you, because the question you may have is, well, what does that mean in terms of impact to our transit service? So as noted in the correspondence, individuals who use free passes may not necessarily be using transit without the free passes. So there isn't a direct correlation between a free pass and loss of revenue. So that's one thing that we have to kind of note, is it's not the $2 by 4,000 that we lose in terms of revenue. It's hard to measure. But what we can kind of show you is the cost per ride, with or without. So you can see that this year the United Way tickets redeemed so far in 23-24 was 3,089, and that's just until the end of the month that just passed, whereas last year it was 3,900. So there has been an uptake in the use of the tickets and the use. This year so far, our total rides is 19,000 in total. So 15.9% have used the passes of our total ridership. So that's what that means. We budget, on average, approximately $40,000 a year in terms of transit revenue. And as indicated, it's not anticipated that this would impact that much. We have so far in this fiscal year, $24,736 in total revenue that's been realized through transit fares. If the all rides were paid for, including the free passes, it would be $30,000. But again, you can't draw that straight line between the two. The cost per ridership is also shown. We provided a table there that shows you that for cost per revenue per ride is $127. If all rides were paid for, it would be $156 in terms of revenue brought in per ride. So there is a bit of a subsidy, again, non-direct correlation between the free passes and that, but that'll give you an idea. So the request would essentially bring it to 10,000 free passes that would be provided to the United Way, and again, the value is when they're redeemed. So I believe he indicated there was about an 80% redemption rate on the free passes. So it'd be about 8,000 that would be redeemed this year.
80 or 85 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Councillor Thorburn.
I guess, Your Worship, it would be fair to say that if we didn't give those free passes, those people wouldn't be using the transit anyway.
I think that's why you can't do the direct
That's
line.
why you
Correct.
can't
Yeah.
do
That's-
that direct
Yeah.
contact, and if it's required, I would certainly make that motion.
Okay, so you're going to move the approval of the United Way's request for 4,000 transit passes?
I would move that Town Council of 10 Bridgewater approve the United Way's request for additional 4,000 transit passes for the 2023-2024 season.
Do we have a seconder for that? Deputy Mayor Fragier? Any further discussion? I'm just going to add, oh, no, you go ahead, Councillor Caldwell.
So I wonder, so if my math is right, we've gone from 2,000 of these passes to 10,000 in 2 years. And we've gone through a number of times the United Way has come
Yes.
back asking for more. I wonder if we
Correct.
should have them more, it seems like we're just giving away tickets on an ad hoc basis. I wonder if we should have a more formal process or plan for how many we're giving away, and I wonder if, like, would it be appropriate for this to, in the future, go through the grants to organizations process?
It's not necessarily a grant, because we're not giving them money and them purchasing tickets. You can give that mandate to them to consider requests for free services from the town. Last year, we do have a memorandum with them where it says we will give 2,000 tickets, free passes. Last year, they came and asked for 3,000 more, so that brought it up to the 5,000. And this year, they asked for a total of 6,000, and they're asking for another 4. So it kind of steps outside that MOU. We can look at the memorandum and increase the number of passes to kind of reflect the usage, because it has, if you look at the number of rides, the passes that have been redeemed, it is growing in terms of the need. Now, mind you, the number of tickets we've given out has grown as well, right? But, so we could look at the memorandum and increase the number of passes. It just seems that it's been over the last couple years, as with everything, there seems to be this greater need in the community for this type of support that probably wasn't envisioned when the memorandum was first established. So it's fair to say we could pull that out and look at increasing that number. And if council wants, you can add it to the mandate of a committee to consider the request. It would still have to come to council unless you wanted to delegate the authority to staff to award based on that committee's recommendation.
For me, I think another, just like, I like that idea. For me, I like the idea of having a larger discussion on the implications of free transit, for example, right? So our revenue is, it's not hundreds of thousands of dollars. The revenue is budgeted for $40,000 a year. If the mandate of transit is partially to move people around the community, but also partially to have a positive impact on the reduction of poverty, then free transit would eliminate the barrier for those who don't feel comfortable asking for a handout, or don't feel comfortable, being singled out by handing in a pass. I also look at all the times that we've had free transit, especially over March break. We've literally had the bus filled with youth. which is, to me, exactly what you want, right? Youth going, taking it to the LCLC, taking it to the mall. I think I'm not suggesting we do that and then not have the $40,000 because we can't afford that. But I think that opens doors to have a conversation with the province to say, you know what, your mandate is also to help find some ways to reduce poverty, also to get people moving around these communities. They're very transit focused. Could they step up with some of the shortfall? Could we, you know, if you fill a bus from, instead of having 100 people a day to having 600 people a day on the bus, the value of the interior advertising, to me, is, you know, goes through the roof. Could we make up the other $20,000 in shortfall from advertising? And so actually there would be no negative impact financially to the taxpayer. Just a complete change in how the bus is used around the town. But that's I think that's a discussion that has to be in conjunction with what Councillor Caldwell said of instead of always coming back and saying, here's 2,000 more passes or 2,000 more passes. Is it a better use of our time either changing the MOU or taking it to the next step and making it free? And I don't know the answer, but I think both of those things something has to change, because the way we have it set up right now, it's in 2024 they're going to come back 5 times and ask for 2,000 or 3,000 more passes, and so I think we need to look at that.
I would note that the Provincial Housing Action Plan that came out today did note that access to transit was an influencer on housing and housing costs. So it is something provincially they've recognized too could be important.
So again, a good conversation with the province to say, in your housing action plan, you note the importance of transit. Wouldn't it be great if that transit was barrier-free? Not just, I mean, our bus is now barrier-free, but wouldn't it be nice if the monetary barrier was removed? But that's a long conversation. Councillor Conklin.
Just curious, the total revenue, is that just based on total fares or advertising as well?
That is fares.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another question, if I might. Are there other ways that the town of Bridgewater has, I guess, contributed to the United Way, whether it's fiscally or in contra?
Grants?
Yep.
Grants over the
Yeah.
Yeah.
for different things.
Definitely. We can pull that information out if you want.
Maybe it'd be good to have when we're looking at maybe updating that MOU or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. Certainly a number of times over the last 5 years we've provided grants, different grants for different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions? We have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Down to reports and recommendations. We have the September 2023 building inspection report. So just a reminder, I like to remind the public at this stage, where all the information that we have in front of us is available for the public on the town's website. So there's no extra documents in our package. Everyone has access to that from the town's website, and you go to council and you can see agendas and minutes, and our agenda package is the same as they would see. So all the building inspection information is there, so still busy. Just, it's like a blanket statement as we keep going forward, still busy. Still very, very busy. Next, 9.2, we have Bridgewater Fire Department Strategic Plan for 2023. And I was reminded today that this is the 6th year anniversary of the fire downtown with the old Cleves and the Rogers store. And I was going to do a social media post today. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I actually got distracted today because I remember having a conversation with the chief when I went down. So I'm not going to cry when I talk about this, but I remember going down the morning after you guys spent all night trying to put out that fire. And I will never forget that the chief wanted to do nothing else but talk about all the other firefighters from Bridgewater and all the other departments. Not interested. I kept asking you how you were doing. I kept asking how were things, I wanted to hear from you, and you just wanted to talk about how everyone else did such a great job. And so, I do just want to call out that I thought that was really, that's leadership right there, is you know, you were taking care of everyone else that was on the ground. And I was worried that no one was worried about you. I know your team was worried about you, but just that event, how many fire departments came?
There was 13 fire departments.
13 fire departments from across the region. And like that was mutual aid at its finest. If we could have municipal cooperation like that for everything else, we'd be laughing. But I just, you know, it's, you guys are here today, but today is the 6-year anniversary of that fire. So I know it's purely coincidental that you didn't choose today to give us your strategic plan.
No, we did not.
Give us more money. Remember that thing we did? Okay, no, that's good. Sorry, I'll turn it over to you, Andy.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you our strategic plan to you tonight. So the BFD is a department of the town and has submitted a written level of service that we have been conducting based on our past emergency calls and future predictions. Our fire calls are steadily increasing, and we are responding to more and more non-emergency calls annually. From 2009 to 2019, we documented a 48% increase in our calls. We are responding for far more mutual aid calls, as no one department can adequately respond to a fire with their members they have available or on a given day. In 2021, the BFD responded 221 calls for assistance. 2022, 282 calls for assistance. This places us at the end of 2022, 46% above the calls in 2019. To date, we have responded to 338 calls, and our year end is December 31st. Over the last few years, we too have called for help. 2017, 11 calls for mutual aid in town. 2018, 4 requests. 2019, 5 requests. This does not include any social engagements such as social mutual aid, exhibition parade, Canada Day, or Christmas on LaHave, where our resources are stretched thin and we are blocked from responding. So this is a great illustration of 1720, a standard used for emergency, used for the emergency response of volunteer fire departments. To effectively and safely extinguish a structure fire, we will require 17 firefighters as a minimum. This becomes very hard to schedule and manage for any one department when dealing with multiple parameters such as volunteer location, ability to respond, volunteer training level, volunteers' ability or wanting to advance their training or abilities. Our normal response times are around the 6 to 10 minute mark. This depends on traffic, flow, people, day of week, and without the proper collection of data, we cannot give you the analytics to determine if we comply or not. 1720 states that, as a guide, our town should be able to initially produce 10 persons within 8 minutes, 80% of the time, based on our population density. In 2009, we started with 47 members, and so far this year, we're 46. This may seem like a win on the surface, but from a scheduling and a response view, this is definitely a serious problem. Every fire service has seen a significant loss in membership. The population in the town of Bridgewater is growing. This is a good thing. Many of those people are coming in between the ages of 50 and 64 years. That makes the person a viable member needed by our department. However, they cannot join because they either have to work 2 jobs or to cover the spouse while they work. It's a catch-22. So, how does this affect the town and the residents and the BFD? Maybe a little long-term planning and some goals, maybe assistance. So our strategic plan, our mission statement, and written value statement are displayed prominently on our strategic plan. We have always been the happiest with our motto and will always try to be ever ready. The biggest issue we and just about every fire department has for the last 10 years is membership. Getting them, keeping them. If we recruit 5 members, 4 of them will possibly stay 1 year, 3 of them will hang around for 2 to 3 year mark, and 1 of them will make it over the 5 year mark. The fewer the firefighters we have, the more pressure it places on existing members to perform and do more with less. We currently have a great team that makes great strides in recruiting members. We just need a little help getting some of our programs off the ground. maybe a little help from a staff member would be necessary once a strategy is created for our town to recruit and retain firefighters. Right now, we only accept firefighters from a 10-minute radius of the town, and based on certain credentials, maybe one of the changes would be to accept from a larger radius of potential members. Daytime availability of our members is killing our response. The tougher the job market is, the tougher it is for employers to let employees go. Local businesses need to be highlighted for their contributions to the town. We are expecting to create a positive plan for recruitment and retention policy by the BFD within 5 years. This category should not cost a lot of money. However, that depends on council and how you guys can help. The composite department. We don't believe we're at that point yet. However, what the membership has stated is that they fear the most is not being able to respond to emergency calls adequately to meet the standard. We wanted to bring this council's attention as emergency calls are increasing, the service level demand is increasing, the town is growing, and our members may get to the point that they may not be able to handle it anymore. If calls in the future become too great for the volunteers to handle, maybe we could start with a paid on-call staff. The members determined that a future paid on-call system rewarding response with pay may be an avenue worth looking into, as it would be less costly and less of a burden to fully career staff model. This topic is well worth a discussion in depth and submitting an in-depth cost analysis. It is also suggested by members that in addition to the addition of a paid administration chief to handle the creation of all the updating of policies, procedures, and the like would be advantageous. Succession planning. From this item, we have already completed the succession plan document. From this plan, we have created a Deputy Chief 2 position and renamed the existing Deputy Chief 1 position to DC 1. This will allow prospective members to try a Chief Officer position without a huge commitment. With a reduced term for DC 1 and 2, this will also allow more of a switch in the lieutenants and captains positions, as the hope is for those positions to move around more based on the DC 1 and 2 positions having a smaller term. Currently, each officer applies for a position based on their goals, experience, and training levels. There is no more voting on executive positions, as its top 3 chief officers picked from the applications who would best suit the position. The chief, DC 1, and DC 2 are voted by the membership, but can only hold those positions with valid training levels. This change has an annual cost increase to our budget attributed to a base set on an honorarium for the DC 2 position. This year's budget was passed by council with that change. Thank you. Media relations. We have been working on a media relations topic with a town employee over the last year or so and believe it has been working well. We feel this topic should not be a cost increase to the town or an increase to the town employee's workload. Most small inquiries will be handled by the BFD executive, and only the larger incidents should require media relations assistance. Right now, there's a lack of mutual aid agreements, and the ones that we currently have in place are either old, out of date, or not followed at all. There's a definitive lack of up-to-date department policies, job performance tasks, training programs, and policies. Some of the policies we are working on are from the 1980s. This is an internal cost-effective fix. However, significant time is required to complete. There is a signed agreement in place with the MODL that provides the town with reciprocal mutual aid fire protection. However, this does not include automatic aid scenarios and automatic aid policies. To set a go-forward plan to cost of this, the BFD will and will create a committee to create a new set of bylaws for the Firefighters Association and the fire department itself. This will be of no cost to the town. Although Nova Scotia legislation does not specifically require volunteer firefighters to follow Nova Scotia OH&S laws, provinces such as Ontario make no division between volunteer and career staff. In part of Nova Scotia OH&S legislation apply once people are paid or once career occupations such as police, EHS, or public works are on the same site. Then OHS apply. We want to be proactive and have policies and procedures in place, and since we are a division of the town, we would utilize what is already written This should not be a cost prohibitive venture, as policies can be written around JPRs that exist in our formalized training. We need to engage the youth, younger youth set for our membership. This can be done completely in-house, but possibly by utilization of some specialized media relations employees. Our junior department has been in place since 1982. The program works, but it needs some upgrades to attract and keep youth engaged. This should not be an increased line item from our budget, but may take some of our budget and time to create. We feel this should be an in-house creation, and this program would be built from the ground up to engage our future youth. Government support of employers, of members. We often hear that employers are not willing to let employees go like they did before. Many have stated the employee can go, but they have to punch out or take time off. Others simply refuse to let the employees go. We feel as though this could be a council-driven initiative and will come from council to employers directly. This could even become a much larger municipal or even a provincial initiative, as a low-cost recognition would benefit the whole community. To engage our members, this is really a moving target. A volunteer does this job not for the recognition, money, or the glory, but for the want to help. To accentuate or assist the desire to help, we have to constantly be making training interesting, make the work they do enjoyable, worthwhile, and keep them coming back. And of course, some of our perks will help them keep coming back. This is an in-house project that should be no cost increase to our existing budget. We hope to have a plan in place within 2 years to help keep the members engaged. If there are any budget implications from a consultation period with members towards the budget, we will discuss in depth with council prior to submitting or increasing our budget. Statistics. Everything we do in the fire service is based on numbers. In order to prove or disprove something, we have to have the background or data to do so. To accurately account for new apparatus, we have to produce records for each account of maintenance versus new payments. Our response times out of the station to the scene and how many people we have on scene and hours spent at a call are manually done at present time by a lengthy manual spreadsheet and a valued employee. In the end, we would like to propose a more accurate records keeping system for the BFD that will produce required records when we require them. Our plan is to conduct research into specific on-the-shelf, off-the-shelf programs or in-house solutions to see what will help and create a report back to council regarding future costs to our budget. So, when we compared other departments to our size, Bridgewater has a population of about 8,241 people. The cost to taxpayer in 2002 for our fire operating budget was $241.77. That's a 10.39% cost over Nova Scotia average department. New Glasgow is what we would consider a sister town to ours. It is laid out almost identical and has a total taxable assessment below ours, just over $5 million. Bridgewater has almost $7 million. New Glasgow responds to over 230 calls annually with an operational budget of $2 million. Bridgewater budget is about $1.6 million for fire protection, but $978,000 of that is allotted for hydrants. The resident population of New Glasgow is around 9,500 people. New Glasgow has a full-time paid chief, DC who gets an honorarium, 32 paid on-call members, and 8 full-time drivers, plus 2 5 spares that work 2 at a time, 12-hour shift. The cost per dwelling unit is $225.70, a 10.39% over the Nova Scotia average. Their paid on-call system for their members is each responding firefighter gets $20.65 per call. If the call goes over 1 hour, those remaining on scene will get $20.65 an hour. In 2001 to 2002, a report was completed by Municipal Affairs that calculated municipal average per cost of dwelling unit for firefighting expenses in Nova Scotia. The municipal average was $219.01 per dwelling unit at that time. So, where do we go from here? An insurance underwriter review was done in 2017 and should be done again in 2024. This will provide council with a good picture of the BFD from an insurer's perspective. So where do we go? We are seeking council's approval for the strategic plan. We would like to see a plan be developed and provided to council in the 2024-2025 budget year by an external source that will assist in creating an implementation plan for our strategic issues and actions. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present.
Questions from members of council? We went through this last week, so if the public's watching wondering why we're so quiet, we actually had this whole presentation.
I made it a little bit lighter for you guys.
No, it's great.
It was a little more lengthy.
No, there's good information in there, and again, the public has access to that because that report, that strategic plan document is in our council package for the public. So I don't know if I didn't have any questions, Councilor Caldwell.
Not a question, but comment for council. So I support this plan. I think it's well thought out, very good. But it is a stepping stone towards increasing costs. And so I'm wondering if council needs to have some sort of formal discussions about how we want to handle emergency services costs going forward, including police, because police is it's our number one budget line in the budget. So with the increasing costs of this, the cost of policing, I wonder if we need to just think about what do we want to see in 3 years, 5 years? Like, do we need to have that discussion?
Yeah, I think part of what the fire department's going to do is gather that data to be able to come back to us and say, this is what it looks like when we start moving towards the inevitable, which is some kind of paid
Composite department.
Yeah, composite department. Thank you, Councilor Thorwald. Composite department, so that because we do have to have that conversation. You're 100% right.
The wider conversation.
The wider conversation. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So their strategic plan gets that to us. I can't remember the timeline for that though.
Between 2 and 5 years, you'll have next year, 2024-2025 budget year, you'll have a report back from an external source, basically reviewing the Bridgewater Fire Department services. Are they accurate? Are they correct? Do you need to do more? Do you need to do less? Are we doing more than we should? Are we overstepping our boundaries? So that'll be somebody from outside our organization who is qualified. We'll look back to you guys, and we'll present a proper report for that.
So we probably need to have that discussion, the one that you want, a little bit before that, but maybe we'll have that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right on. Councilor Thorwald.
Yeah, and when you give your report, we was talking about OH&S and Occupational Health and Safety Act as it applies to the fire department. And pretty near 90% of the calls or more that you go on, there is police there or EHS. So really, you're pretty much following OH&S on every call. Is that correct?
Correct. We do follow to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
All the Nova Scotia OH&S laws.
Yeah.
We are very cognizant of the laws, the way they act, and keeping our members safe.
Yeah.
We want to ensure that every member goes home the same way they came.
Yeah. And to follow up on that, I think under that act, and due to the chief and deputy and their abilities and training, there's not a member that does any job on the fire ground that's not trained to do that job. That's a basic requirement and fully responsible to the chief and deputy. So it's very important to recognize that.
Other questions or comments? No? Is someone prepared to make a motion? Councilor Thorburn.
I'd be a pleasure, Your Worship. I'd move the Town Council for the Town of Bridgewater approve the 2023 strategic plan for the Bridgewater Fire Department, including the service levels identified in the plan, and that an implementation plan be finalized and presented to council that provides timelines and resources to implement the actions identified in the plan.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Tanner. Further discussion? Question being called. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy.
9.3 is our discussion session briefing notes. So when we're not having a council meeting, we're having a discussion session. And so in that we had a very good discussion on the Disbrazé Museum, future funding, kind of, what do we want to see in the museum going forward. We had a great discussion about how it's not just a museum, it's a community center as much as it is a museum. You could also say it's an art gallery, like it's a whole bunch of things. So all that is in our council package for the public to see. But I thought it was a really good discussion on that. So kind of moving forward, and hopefully a good, strong future for the museum. 9.4 is strategic priorities update from the CAO.
Okay, so this provides an update on council's strategic priorities up to the period that would have ended at the end of the second quarter, September 30th, 2023. Departmental activities are noted in the quarterly reports that are also attached to this overall report. So I'm just going to report on the priorities, not drill down into the activities.
Oh, you're not going to read the whole thing?
No, sorry. I can if you want.
No, we're good. We're good.
So Exit 12A is a strategic priority of council, and here we're working towards opening up the land north of the 103, coming up with some concept plans, and the overall objective is to start marketing and selling land. So at this point in time, during the last period, we engaged Altus to do an appraisal of the land as if it were development ready, so that we would have an idea of lot pricing when it comes time to market and sell land. We know what we want to ask for those lots. So Donna and I did a kickoff meeting, I think, last week with them. So they're underway, and hopefully we'll get a report soon on that. And that will inform the lot pricing, the marketing plan, sales, all those other next steps that come with that. The Housing Action Plan, I note that we completed that during the last period. So the Housing Action Plan was a report prepared by the Community Development Department that outlined steps that the town can take in terms of our mandate and our role with respects to housing, and how we can address the housing issues within the town. And it was also required as part of the Housing Accelerator Fund application for CMHC. So we completed both during the last period, and the application's been submitted and the Housing Action Plan is underway. If we don't receive CMHC funding, what it does is that just pushes out the term for which we would get the Housing Action Plan completed. The marketing levy, council did ask, I believe, this question during the last report. So we have a draft bylaw that has been drafted by Modal, and I believe it is fashioned after Colchester County, and that has been presented to the mayors and CAOs, and right now it's got to go to legal counsel, and then it'll come forward to council for review. So that's why it's noted at 80%. It's fairly standard. And each municipal unit, although we've agreed on a regional approach, each municipal unit is required to approve their own bylaw. Regional building inspection, and during the second quarter I brought the draft terms to you for an agreement that would be between the parties that would be involved in the regional building inspection services, and it haven't received anything since from that. And wastewater, we've noted that we're about 60% of the way in terms of revisions to our planning strategy and land use bylaw. That would see our policy and bylaw requirements align with our wastewater capacity. Museum funding, the mayor noted that during the last quarter we did have that workshop with council, and have clearer direction on where we want to go with the museum, in particular next budget year and forward. And then all the other items are items that are ongoing, and they'll be a little bit more longer term. Next month you'll receive an update from Energize Bridgewater about where they are with the Energy Management Information System. During the last quarter we launched the multi-unit retrofit upgrades. So that was a big step for the program, because before that it was all single unit homeowner type buildings, whereas this is multi-units of tenants. And then those are a segment of the population that we're trying to target in terms of energy poverty and savings. The development charges, the last quarter we advised you that we got no proposals for the RFP, and that was a big piece of work that we have to do in order to determine the cost of development and how we recover that. So we've broken that out during the last quarter, and we rescoped it, and we're doing it in smaller segments, hoping to get consultants, instead of trying to do this one comprehensive review, we're breaking it out into steps. So that's underway, and the floodplain mitigation strategy, same thing there as well. Investment attraction strategy, the draft has been completed, and Donna will be just reviewing that and putting her lens on that and bringing that forward. So that's why that's noted at 80%, because the next step is to come here, and we'll do that in the third quarter as well. And I think that pretty much summarizes what's been going on during the last quarter.
Questions from anyone? Councillor Tanner.
Just on the marketing levy, are all regional sort of councils in the same position, so to speak, with regard to that? They're all running it by their legal department? They're all...
Yeah, we're all at the same point
Okay.
where it was been presented, so the next step is to take it to council, so.
There's just one that's a little...
Yeah, there's one municipal unit that's not quite.
Not quite there. Okay.
Yeah. And the other, then the next step will be is each municipal unit will be collecting their levy. Then it's a matter of where we go from there. Do we look at a regional body and how much of that levy goes to the regional body versus stays with the individual municipal unit? Some municipal units have Airbnbs, right, and a lot of them, whereas the town is more the motel hotel.
So we just have to work out some of that, but
Yeah.
we're all in agreement that we need to move there. We just have a couple of things to work out, but
Yeah.
closer than we've been before. So that's good. Other questions? Can I have a motion, please, Deputy Mayor?
Yes, Your Worship. I move that the Town Council for the Town of Bridgewater receive the second quarter reports and approve the updated strategic priorities.
Perfect, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Conklin. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. And we are down to business arising and unfinished business, repeal of policy 101, the COVID-19 property tax financing program. So we gave notice to this at the last council meeting. So I just, do you want to just quickly review that for me, please?
This was approved by council in 2020, May of 2020, and it was essentially put in place to provide financial relief in the form of a deferred property tax payment. So it enabled property owners to come up with an installment plan without penalty during a certain period of time, and direct response to COVID and the financial impacts that some residents encountered from that. So it was really a specific period in time. We have no accounts that are presently under that, and it was really for a defined period of time in 2020, 2021. So unless council wants to change the dates in the policy really should be removed from our books. And to do that, you're required to repeal the policy.
Okay, questions? No, pretty straightforward. Someone prepared to make that motion? Oh, everyone wants to make that motion. Sorry, Councillor Conklin, I saw you out of the corner of my eye first.
I move that Town Council for the Town of Bridgewater repeal policy 101 COVID-19 property tax financing program effective immediately.
Seconded by Councillor Caldwell. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. We are down to the end of our agenda, so we have no in-camera meeting following this. So can I have a motion to adjourn? Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Caldwell. We are adjourned. Thank you.